Hey everyone, welcome back. It is time for another wrestling review, our third in 3 nights. After going last week without one, we got a whole whack of more reviews, and more reviews coming next week as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Turn on that bell for notifications. Follow me in the Discord because every time we post a new wrestling video, that's where you will find it. With me once again, we have Campo.Reviews, the man who reviews wrestling, TVs, movies, you name it.
I review all kinds of TVs, LGs, Samsungs.
TV shows. Let me rephrase that. It's been a long night and it is late and I'm starting to lose my voice. So let's start off. Collision in Philly, second of 2 nights. It was hard to find any information on these shows.
Yeah, well, there was very little.
Yeah. For something that was supposed to be this big.
It's a 2-night pay-per-view. And
yeah.
By the way, you either buy the combo pack or you have to pay for both nights separately.
Yeah.
It wasn't sold as one thing.
Yeah. You're right. You can buy them as 2, but you have to pay them individually or buy the combo pack.
Yeah, and the combo pack wasn't much cheaper than buying 2.
It was like what, $30, $40?
I think they were like $29.99 each, or I think $40 for both, something like that.
$30.
Was it for both?
They were $29.99 each and $39.99 for the combo. Yeah,
for the combo,
which is not a lot for a pay-per-view.
But I'm saying this night specifically, to me, I know you like it, so we'll get into it. Didn't even feel like a pay-per-view. It felt like an episode of Strong. I thought the production value was poor, and we still had the same audio issues that we had on night 1.
To me, the thing I liked about this match, even though the matches were better on the other night, at least these matches had a rhyme and a reason to being put together. I get that. A lot of the stuff that was built up on the previous night was followed up on this night.
And I'm going to be honest with you, as we go through this, we'll see. Okay, so
once again, the audio issues are there. We have the first match of Kevin Knight and Delirious, which random, versus Volador Jr. and Desperado.
And it was a good match. It wasn't. I expected more, to be honest.
Delirious is wearing shoes now, so that's much better.
That's nice. It as good as the in-ring work was, it didn't really flow.
Yeah.
It felt like there was no reason. Once again, it's like, oh, look, we have all these good wrestlers. We're going to put them in a match together. So you're like, okay. But then when the match is already not flowing properly in the ring and there's no story that they're telling, it kind of was just like, where am I going?
Delirious is a legend. Kevin Knight is not quite there yet. But then you have Volador Jr. and El Desperado on the other team. And those two are some of the best of the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, Volador Jr. is legendary.
Legendary Mexican wrestling, but it was an okay opener. It wasn't anything special, but you're right. This match there was a lot of stop and go. It didn't really seem to flow properly.
It felt like it was offshoot match. They were just we're just going to see where.
So Delirious, Volador, Desperado, they're used to the lucha style match. And you could tell that Kevin Knight was a little bit out of his element.
Kevin Knight's a high flyer, but not in a lucha style, right?
Yeah. So it seemed like he was a little out of his element. Volador and Desperado go over. So next we got Tracy Williams and Alex Coughlin, the android, in a Pure Rules match, because Coughlin is trying to bait Shibata into putting up the title against them. So this is kind of like a showcase match. And the commentators were even saying, sorry to cut you off, but even the commentators were saying that even if Tracy Williams wins this match, it's still a good showing for him, and he might get the title shot out of that.
Yeah, this match was so boring.
Yeah.
So boring. And I'm already not a big Coughlin fan to begin with. But throughout this match, and I didn't even have my phone with me, so it's not like I was not paying attention. I was just
yeah, and usually I try to watch it sometimes at a 1.5 speed. This is one of those matches I wanted to, but I didn't have that option.
Yeah, I surprisingly, I didn't even think of doing that.
Yeah,
you couldn't, but I didn't even think of doing it. It felt like, I don't know, it was just a snooze fest. It's 2 wrestlers nobody cares about fighting for a title that nobody cares about. And I know Shibata has it, and I know the pure title is doing well right now, but it's like
Yeah.
in New Japan / New Japan Strong / Impact, nobody cares about the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Like, why is this the title that we're talking about?
Yeah. But I mean, it is a good jumping off point for a new up and coming wrestler.
Yeah, I agree. But imagine in AEW, okay, not even AEW, in Impact, if you had Uemura fighting Upinder for a chance to fight for the
Joe Henry.
New Japan TV title. Nobody cares about the New Japan TV title, especially in a company that has nothing to do with that
New Japan.
company.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's two wrestlers that nobody also cares about.
Yeah, they're not over enough or popular enough to be put in a position like that.
In a different company fighting for a low tier belt in another company.
Yeah.
It just feels strange. I get it, but you have to at least, help people out there understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, makes sense. The match did pick up a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're really bad wrestlers.
It's just there was nothing to draw you in.
There wasn't a storyline like if you had Garcia and Yuta, right? There's no storyline here. It's just two guys.
Two random guys. So Coughlin goes over. Most likely he'll get the shot at Shibata.
Yeah, and good. Okay, I'll watch that match. I'll be happy with that.
That might be a multiverse match, or not a multiverse, a Forbidden Door match, maybe a pre-show match.
Sure.
Okay. Next
I'll
you
take
have newly minted Bullet Club member of Clark Connors against the DKC. This is the blow off to what happened on the night before, where Connors turns on his friend and joins the Bullet Club, and this was a absolute beatdown.
Yeah, and okay, so once again, like storytelling wise, yes, okay, we got storytelling out of this, but this was barely a match. And in comparison to the Juice Robinson thing, where there was like a long-term story that had built up there was no stake for me in this game. So it just felt like me wasting 15 minutes watching or 10 minutes watching this guy get beat up. And I already don't like the DKC. So
yeah.
See where this is like what bothered me about this event.
Okay, whereas I think more this was the blow off to some of the issues that happened the night before, so we get the blow off on the next night kind of thing. So
but it's kind of like we didn't even need this blow off.
Yeah,
you could have just never mentioned it again. But like once again, this is the event where I'm saying this. It's like you can be a loser and I can keep beating you up, or you can join the Bullet Club and be a winner, because they've told that kind of storyline before, right? So it's not like impossible.
And definitely Clark Connors joining the Bullet Club is making him a winner, because he just got a huge
and I
win.
think the DKC should join the Bullet Club too.
If you can't beat him, join him, right?
It's like, look what they did with Okada, right? They kept beating him up, trying to get him to join Bullet Club. I know he never did join.
Yeah.
Like maybe DKC gets it and is like, shit, I should join them.
Maybe I should. Yeah. If you can't, like the whole, if you can't beat him, join him kind of
exactly.
thing. Going into the next match, West Coast Striking Crew against TMDK one more time. We have Darrell Nelson, Tom Lawler, and Royce Isaacs against Shane Haste, Bad Dude Tito, and Zack Sabre Jr.
And see, this one is weird for me because, yes, I can see they're trying to build a feud. We talked about that in the last episode. But this match didn't help. It felt like we don't have any other wrestlers to throw out tonight. So this is...
Yeah, because because there were 3 events on this night. We had Collision, we had Impact Rebellion, and there was Triple Mania in Mexico as well that same night. So it was like...
Yeah, and it's like I'd be hard pressed to look at these matches and be like, oh, they're all crap. But everything just felt so baseline. It felt like this felt like an episode of Strong. Like we just have to get through this. And if I imagine having paid your hard-earned money to watch this, like, I mean, to go there, if you were there at the show, I would be like, huh? Why am I watching this match?
I think of the crowd also took this was very much an old school ECW crowd,
which I can see the reason you would specifically like.
Right, but then again, though, the crowd tried too hard to get themselves over.
but that's how DCW crowds do.
That's what they've always done. I like the little comedy spots at the beginning of the match. Like they're searching all the members of West Coast Wrecking Crew. They find a carabiner in Jor-El Nelson's pants. What do they find? A toothbrush in right?
And it's
like where else would you, other than Philly, would you get a brush your teeth chant? Like, you know what I mean? Like
there was
the toothbrush was more over than some of the.
Like I said, I know both of these teams, these groups of people can do comedy wrestling well.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't need this match in any way, shape, or form.
Because we already had the title match the night before.
Yeah, and it's not like you were like, oh, it's Okada and Tanahashi and Zack Sabre Jr. No, it's Zack Sabre Jr. and 2 scrubs versus Tom Lawler and 2 scrubs.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, I mean, this time though, West Coast Wrecking Crew goes over. Tom Lawler gets the pin on Bad Dude Tito. Most likely we're gonna get a rematch between Zach and Tom.
sure, I'll take it. I think that was a good match.
Yeah. Next we got Rocky Romero and Homicide against Sonata and Kanemaru.
Okay,
and
so
the reason why Homicide was in this match was he was a last-minute replacement for Fred Rosser. So story is Juice Robinson is suspended indefinitely. So instead of him facing Lance Archer in this match, it's in this night, it's going to be Fred Rosser taking his place. So it's Fred Rosser versus Lance Archer. That's why we had that match. So to replace Fred Rosser in this tag match, we got Homicide instead.
And I'm not a big fan of Homicide.
I never was either.
He's fine.
But Kanemaru and Sonata.
This match was this is where like the pay-per-view I was like, okay, it's getting better for me. And it was what it was. I like Rocky Romero. I like both of the other guys.
Yeah. So I mean, it was an average. I put and the only thing that threw me off was a little bit was that quick pin on Romero.
Yeah,
or on Homicide. That came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere.
I think he just wasn't able to kick out in time.
Who knows?
But we may never know. But yeah, Sonata goes over. Sonata still gets the win. See, this is where we could have benefited from Sonata versus anybody for a title match. You know what I mean? Have some title defenses under your belt.
Agreed.
But next
they're very keen on keeping him on a tag team with Kanemaru for some reason.
Yeah, maybe they'll double champ him.
And what did Ian Riccoboni keep calling this guy? Kanemaru, Kaney Maori or something like that. If both nights, I was like, what the hell is he saying?
Yeah, it was like I said, the audio issues were
not Amaru or something like that.
But I mean, it was an okay match. It was Sonata. Like they're just trying to keep Sonata strong.
It is.
Yeah. And the more I get a Sonata, I'm happy. So, up next we have the now rechristened International Championship. We get Orange Cassidy versus Gabriel Kidd. Gabriel Kidd was a last-minute replacement for for Eddie Kingston, who has a hernia. So he's out for a while.
I mean, I'll rather watch Gabriel Kidd than him.
But you weren't too keen on this match, though. You weren't too keen.
No, I was not. I don't want to see Gabriel Kidd, but I also don't want to see Eddie Kingston do anything.
Yeah, but it did turn out that this match was much better than expected.
It was, but I'm getting really fed up with the Orange Cassidy storytelling.
Yeah, I think it's time for Orange.
Do you take the title from him because of his hand? Like, how much longer are we going to play this game?
Who's up next for Orange?
Someone else that he's going to beat, because they keep putting him against people who can't beat him for this title.
Yeah, it was good when he got the belt, but I think now the storyline's getting a little long in the tooth and they need to move on.
I think there's potential that he was going to drop the title to Eddie Kingston, but because of this happening, now they're trying to recorrect and figure out what they're going to do.
Okay. Makes sense. But this, to quote your term, this match was better than it had any right to be.
Yeah, it was. I still didn't really like it, I'm going to be honest, but it was. You're correct.
Yeah, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this match. This was one of the better Orange matches I've seen in a while. But Orange goes over, like you said. He's still the champ. Maybe that's what was supposed to happen. Maybe Kingston was supposed to go over, finally give Kingston a title run. Where does Orange go from here, though? Who's left?
Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I
Do they
genuinely
bring
don't
Miro
know.
back? Because they need to do something with Miro. Andrade,
Does
maybe?
Miro want to come back? I
I
mean,
don't think so.
Andrade maybe, but they've really established the Dralistico slash 10 slash Preston Vance
Yeah,
slash what's his name, Roosh team, and I really
Roosh, yeah.
like them. I don't know if we need Andrade back in that team.
But he doesn't need to be on that team. What if he just goes on his own and beats Orange? Comes back as a face, maybe.
Okay, I'll take that.
Right? And then that's where you get like Dralistico and Roosh turning heel on him, and we get a Roosh versus Andrade feud.
Okay, yeah, you sold me.
Okay, well there we go.
Hey, that's it. JD booking.
That's it. JD booking at its best. Next we have our next match of the night is Kenta and Chase Owens versus Naito and Takahashi. Once again, they're keeping Naito and Takahashi as a team, and I don't mind it.
This match was a match.
Yeah. I like the little comedy bits that Naito at the end of the match was doing. So, I mean, the match was okay in its own right. Owens had a lot to do in this match. It was mostly Owens and Naito in this match.
Which is something we're not used to seeing because Chase Owens is usually used for very quick matches or to fight people that are also slow where he looks like he's the fast one.
And without ELP in this group now, Owens is that go-to guy. And I think ELP, so my long-term booking in my head is we're going to get Finley beating Tama Tonga for the Never Openweight Championship. ELP is going to work his way up. He's going to beat Kenta. He's going to go, not Kenta, sorry. He's going to start with Clark Connors, beat Clark Connors. He's going to go to Chase Owens, beat Chase Owens till he finally gets to David Finley. And then we have he gets to the top, but gets the shit beat out of him. And then he has to work his way back to beat.
I like it, but I do still think that he's going to AEW and he's going to be with Jay White and Juice Robinson.
Is that why we probably haven't seen him in a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he can still do that angle because he's he's still allowed to wrestle in New Japan.
Yeah.
And it will give him something to do. So AEW doesn't feel like they have to shoehorn him into weekly TV. He can go back and wrestle in Japan.
Yeah. But if he does, can you imagine a trio with Jay White, Juice Robinson, and
Fantastic.
ELP?
It's my dreams. That's all
going after the House of Black.
Yeah. And if the guns thing actually plays out, I'm not mad.
I won't be angry at that. But like you said, after the match, LIJ goes over. Naito gets the win over Owens. That's why Owens was in this match, because you don't want to pin Kenta to keep him strong. You also don't want to pin your champion, your junior heavyweight champion, to keep him strong. So Naito goes over. After the match, Rocky Romero comes out and they're doing he's talking about something that was promised a long time ago that never happened. They announced that they're going to be doing, was it All-Star Junior? What's it called? All-Star Junior Festival or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I didn't get the name, but
it's basically not a tourney, but a showcase of all the junior heavyweights.
Yeah, it's going to be a full event of just junior matches.
So it's going to, I think it's going to be some guys from AEW, some guys from Ring of Honor, maybe just all
CMLL will be there for sure.
Yeah, so it's going to be all junior heavyweights. And Naito's doing a little bit of comedy spots, he's trying to make himself look smaller, and it's and I kind of like that. I like when Naito throws in some comedy aspects.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's doing the cardio in the ring, But
quality.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that. And then what I put, Naito and Taka begin. They're trying to. It makes it look like you could see Naito is trying to get Takahashi to break character a little bit.
Because they don't care about these events.
No. Even though this is only Naito's second or third match in North America in like
Hey,
5
but
years.
he's back. That means we're gonna get him at Forbidden Door.
Next we have Fred Rosser versus Lance Archer. Like I said earlier, Fred Rosser was a last minute replacement for Juice Robinson, who is indefinitely suspended. Rosser, so
He's comically taped up.
Yes, a little too much, like the bandage around the head.
It was almost like I was laughing the whole time they were doing the talking.
I mean, I can
sheep.
I would have preferred if he had the ribs taped, like the tape around the ribs, instead of around his head, and maybe just a bandage on his head to cover, or if he came out with like the headgear for wrestling to protect the stitches in his ear. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't listen. This is maybe the biggest reason why I didn't like this show. Not only was this match so bad, it was so long. And
this one went
a
long.
nice chunk of the match. You can't even see what's happening because they've wandered into the crowd and they have no cameras set up to catch any of it.
Yeah. Because this was, I think they made it an impromptu, or they made it seem like it was an impromptu Philly street fight.
Yeah. And it was like, okay, there was like some fun spots, but it was like, as a whole match, when you watch this thing and you're like, why is this match so long? It just kept going.
Yeah. It did go a little long. I was expecting more from Lance Archer.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of the hardcore spots didn't work well. I genuinely think Fred Rosser was really injured, so they were trying to be careful with him. And like Lance Archer has a weird thing where when he's trying to look like he's doing something for real, he looks even faker than when he's not trying. So I don't know, man. If you really like this match, I'm not going to be upset.
No, I didn't. No, this match was to me, this was one of the
upset.
worst. This match didn't need to happen. Me personally, they should have taken this match off the card completely and just have Lance Archer automatically qualify.
There was so many points in recent times in AEW. Sorry.
Yeah.
In AEW or New Japan, when we both said we need Lance Archer right now, and you didn't bring him, but you brought him for this dumb crap. This is what you brought him for?
Yeah. So the whole premise of this match is we are trying to determine a number one contender to face Kenny Omega. So this is one semifinal, and the next semifinal is going to happen, I think, on May 21st at Resurgence, where it's Hiroshi Tanahashi against returning Will Ospreay.
Yeah, and obviously we know what's going to happen.
Tanahashi.
Yeah, if it is, oh my gosh, I'll be so upset.
But
if we know going into Forbidden Door, it's going to be Tanahashi or Lance Archer
against Kenny.
Oh my gosh!
You know it's going to be Ospreay versus Omega.
Of course, it's going to be Ospreay versus Omega,
and we're going to get to see it. And we are going to be yelling our heads off when Ospreay goes over.
Yeah, no, not yet.
But I mean, this, like I said, this was the low point of the night for me.
Yeah, this is a poo-poo match, and I don't often say that.
Because it wasn't really a match.
Yeah, it was
this felt like WWE booking.
Yes. Okay. Yes. This was just like, I'm gonna beat you up.
A plunder match for the sake of a plunder match.
Yeah.
Usually they book these hardcore matches a little bit better. There's actually wrestling involved. This was no wrestling involved.
This felt like one of those Attitude Era matches where they're like, "Oh, The Rock, you have no one here to protect you and you're injured. Everyone stayed home tonight and no one came to Philadelphia with you. So I'm just going to beat the crap out of you because you're already injured." And
on top of that, you had interference from Juice Robinson that hits him with the quarters again.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. So there's definitely that feud going to be continuing as well.
Hey, I'll take that feud.
But yeah. So with that interference, Lance Archer goes over. He gets the pin on the. But next we got our main event. It's Lio Rush and Tomohiro Ishii against Aussie Open. This was for the belts, wasn't it? Or was it just a tag match?
It might have been for the belts.
I think it was for the strong.
Yeah, but because it's a strong show.
Yeah.
The show wasn't strong. It's New Japan
No.
strong.
What I was wondering is why are Ishii and Rush together? Where's Yo?
That's okay. But this also to me felt like an important moment because it was like, oh, the thing like we were talking about the other night. Look, Chaos can just be with Chaos. They've accepted Leo Rush is a full-on Chaos member by doing this match.
Basically, this was Ishii's way of initiating him into the group.
Yeah, and then because to me, that felt special.
And he's like, because Leo was trying to get out of the match, and Ishii's like, no, you get yourself out of this situation kind of thing.
And it was a pretty good match. It wasn't the best. It definitely wasn't the night before. And at one point, they did a tag maneuver on Leo Rush and Mark, what's his name? Sorry.
Fletcher or Davis? Mark Davis.
Mark Davis landed awkwardly and looked like he hurt his butt.
Yeah.
Like he kept like, you could tell it wasn't like a kayfabe thing. He
actually hurt himself.
Yeah.
I honestly think after this match, after the amount of matches they've had like freaking 20 matches in the last 15 days.
They're going to sleep until Dontaku.
Yeah. They need to take a rest and rest up till Dontaku for sure. At least take a week and a half off now. Like keep them relevant, but they need to rest up and heal. Like Fletcher in 2 weeks has smashed his head open, broken his ribs. Like this man has been through like the meat grinder.
Yeah, and not to mention Davis basically almost got injured at the Japan Cup Finals, New Japan Cup Finals
against the
he's been wrestling like a maniac.
Yeah.
So and he had to take the brunt of that match after Fletcher hit his head.
Yeah. And what's his name too? Fletcher. He had to take the brunt of this match too after Fletcher hurt his ribs.
He's a big dude. You could see that he gets gassed at some points. Like he's struggling to keep.
He doesn't have the stamina. Fletcher definitely has more stamina.
Oh yeah, he's a much thinner guy.
Yeah, but they are still currently one of my favorite new tag teams. But they need to, if they're not careful and they don't, you're going to get too much burnout from them, and they may not have the longevity that you want. I know they're young, but
no, you don't want to kill them.
Yeah. After discussing these shows with you, I have kind of reversed my decisions. You are correct. I have to. You were correct. The first night, in terms of matches, was the better show. In terms of in-ring work. In terms of matches making sense, this show was better, but was executed poorly.
Fair.
So with that, what do you rate this show?
This is where, like, when you were telling me the other way around, this is where it's shocking because I gave it a 7.5. I was debating giving this a 6. This is a 6.3 for me. And only because I do think the Orange Cassidy match was a little better now that I think about it. And I really enjoyed the main event.
Okay. I gave it a 6.8, which was 1 point higher than the night before. So when I said it was a better show than the night before, I didn't mean it was that much better.
You just thought it was better?
Yeah.
I thought the first night was just every match was good. Like I was hard pressed to find a bad match in that night. But I agree with you that it was just slapped together. This second night was clearly the one that they planned out more. But the problem was none of the matches were good matches. Like I don't want to see a rematch of what I just saw last night, but you're adding in one extra guy on each side. Like that
like TMDK versus West Coast.
I was like, I didn't need this.
Yeah. I think it also hurt because of the fact that some of the guys that from Impact went to Rebellion that night, and some people also went to the Triple Mania show. So the roster was a little bit depleted.
New Japan. The base New Japan didn't bring a lot of people with them.
Your biggest name was Sonata and Naito and Takahashi, maybe. Tanahashi.
Tanahashi and Okada were both supposed to be there.
But they didn't.
No. Because you get that cutscene where they're outside in a parking lot arguing about who's gonna fight.
Wasn't the main event supposed to be Tanahashi and Okada versus
it was supposed to be a three-way match. Tanahashi and Okada versus the Guns versus
that's the one. Yeah.
Aussie Open.
Yeah, the first night. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that is
that's
what
right.
that
They were
is.
building up to that and they just never
Because
showed.
Okada has now decided that he wants to focus on tag team wrestling.
Okay. Good on him then.
Well, I think he wants to win something else. His only title wins ever are the world title and nothing else.
Yeah, I think he wants to cement his legacy a little bit more.
I think that's where he is now, right? Because they'll come back around to him again eventually, so he has nothing to worry about.
I think with such new and up and coming talent, it's going to be hard pressed for Okada.
Maybe you have them win the tag titles, the GHC tag titles when you have the crossover.
Maybe. I could see that. I wouldn't
Or
mind them.
maybe he finally beats Kiyomiya. Kiyomiya.
Oh.
I call him Kiyomiya. That's a singer.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Kiyomiya, wasn't it? Kiyomiya, yeah. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to that show. So with that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. Tune in next week. Next week, we have a show we are looking forward to. We're reviewing the, what is it? All-Star Grandom Queendom.
It's a show.
It's a show.
And NXT.
And NXT. But the one we're looking forward to is Julia versus what's her name there? Nakano.
Yeah, Tam. It's going to be
Tam
a
Nakano.
banger.
And we're also getting Monet versus Natsupoi, aren't we?
I'm taking it.
Is it Natsupoi or the other girl, the zombie?
Ooh, it's Mayu, I think. No.
Yeah.
Is
it?
it?
Yeah. Mayu Iwatani.
So they're doing some storytelling. I don't know if you saw that, but they're Kyrie. There's a lot of online Instagram things happening, Kyrie and Natsupoi, which might make Tam upset, and that might start a whole thing. But anyways, I digress.
Do you think that Monet is losing?
No, not yet.
No.
One more. There's gonna be this match and then a blow off.
Okay. Wow. This match is stacked.
Okay, don't tell me. I want to go in blind.
Yeah, this match. Oh,
it's probably starting in like an hour.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. But I'm gonna watch it to tomorrow night because we're recording
guys. Well, we digress. Thank you for coming.
With that out of the way, before this goes too long in the tooth, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.